Hey, what's good today? You're watching Meats by Dre and I'm Dre. Please like this video. Please comment. Please share it with people that you think would benefit from it. And if you subscribe, you get to be one of my first meat peeps, and that would make us all happy. So today is my 94th day of being carnivore, or what I call the hyper-carnivore feeding protocol, which is 80% beef and red meat and 20% the rest, as much as I can, is other animal products, animal proteins, animal fats. Today I want to talk about cheats, because I cheated yesterday and I promised a video on that. So I think the first cheat I had was I actually, right after I got went carnivore, I actually got sick. It was like just a cold or something, but it was kind of rough, and I was kind of wiped out. I don't normally get sick, and I know carnivore is supposed to make you so superhuman that you don't get sick anymore, but what can I say? I caught a virus. So I went a couple of days without eating and just being sick and just resting. And then when I started to feel a little bit better, I thought, oh, you know what? I know I have a bunch of chicken noodle soup. Let me go get some of that. And so I started looking through my pantry and I found this ghost pepper chicken noodle soup, and I was like, oh, this is even better. This is going to have like the benefits that we understand that you get from chicken noodle soup for getting over an illness, and as well as like the ghost pepper stuff will just clear me out, and you know, it can make me good as new. So I was pretty excited. Warmed it up and had a bowl, and I was fine. But the next day I decided to have another bowl, and it was like my body was like, we do not want this stuff inside of us. And I, like, instantly, while I was eating right here on this lymph node, got like a massive allergic reaction, and it, like a goiter, like kind of, it just bubbled up to this big. I'm not even exaggerating. And I immediately stopped eating and was like, oh my gosh, okay, I need to stop. That is not good for me. I'm never gonna have that again. And I started going through the ingredients, wondering what it was. I think from being sick, I couldn't really see it, and it wasn't until a couple of days after that I kept going through the ingredients, being like, I wonder what did that. And I think I figured out, for me, it was red peppers. I just I've had I realized a few years ago that I had to stop putting crushed red peppers on my pizza because it would hurt my stomach. And then I had one reaction like that before, the same thing, same lymph node, while I was eating, and it was when I had a specialty pizza that had that I've figured out. I never got the ingredient list for that, but I figured out it must have been red peppers, and that must have been the common denominator for both of those things. But either case, I am avoiding red peppers for now on. The other really bad reaction that I had was when my buddies were going to get ramen from my favorite ramen place, best place in town. I haven't been to it in several years. And I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna call this a celebration, and we're getting after it. And I thought I did a good job by ordering all the extra proteins. So I got extra eggs, I got extra pork. It didn't matter. I love the miso, the miso style, which comes with corn, and my body did not want corn inside me whatsoever. And like I've already mentioned in other videos, I'm definitely sensitive to corn, and my body was just like, we need to get this out of us as soon as possible. So as soon as I finished eating and got home, had to use the restroom. I had to use the restroom for like 7 times over the next 3 days. And it was no good. It was, so let's just say I ate the corn once, but I saw corn for 3 days. And that was not okay with me. Just another reminder, your body doesn't want corn. It may be okay with other things, but that's not one of them. So I've had some other cheats, and none of them have seemed to create at least a noticeable or instant negative response. There was one day where I housed a pizza, one day where I ate a bunch of chocolate. It's crawfish season and I go wild for some crawfish, and I was low-key concerned that the spices would affect me, but like nothing totally noticeable. Though there are some weird case reports of people having, over time, developing autoimmunity to using a bunch of spices. Hopefully that's not a case for me. I didn't notice anything immediately, and I thought it might be, I thought it might actually deter me from eating it, because I thought it might be too much and my palate had changed over my carnivore journey, but it didn't. It still tasted delicious. I didn't have any reaction to the spices. I even ate the potatoes, and mind you, they're the little red potatoes, skin still on. No problem. No noticeable reactions to that. So that's awesome. I had crawfish and potatoes twice and still feel great even doing that. It's a good little seasonal cheat for me. I'll probably keep doing it unless I have some kind of reaction to it. And then I would probably still, because I love crawfish so much, it's my favorite food, still probably eat some, just not as much, or try to work out the potatoes, something like that. Definitely though, crawfish normally comes with corn. Definitely no corn, not touching the corn. First time I asked them to not even put corn around it. Second time it came standard with the corn, I just didn't touch it. It was just trash for me. So what else? The next thing that comes to mind isn't necessarily food, but just something I'm learning about myself. I feel a lot more mentally fit than I have been in a long time. I have noticed though, when I was just eating omnivore, I never thought of anything being like a binge or like off of my feeding protocol or something I didn't want to do. So I'd be okay, like even just every once in a while, like eating a bunch of candy or housing a bunch of Snickers. Oh shoot, that's one of my cheats. I did actually do that, and I didn't have any adverse effects that I know of from that, except for maybe like in my mental strength, just thinking like, and that's the thing that is kind of really the focus here. I would do stuff like that back then and not think anything of it, because for the past 5 years I've been pretty leaned out. Now it feels like it's an emotional weakness. Now it feels like I'm eating something that I know I don't want, that it's incongruent with my long-term goals, but it serves the moment. I feel like I've become stronger since the start of my journey, and those are getting more and more spaced out. but it's something to be aware of. And if you start your own 90 days of carnivore, you might see that there's some things like that going on with you. And so I've had a therapist for years. I'll be okay if I can identify what those emotional keys are and sharing them with him and seeing if there's something we need to tackle. But I feel like those were just temporary weaknesses, and the longer I'm on diet, the better. The longer I'm on my feeding protocol, the better I feel, and I feel like those things are just going to fade away. That's the hope anyway, but I'll keep y'all posted on that. The other two things that sorry, tripod's being crazy today. The other two things are, I shared before, coffee. I have coffee every day, and I usually have like a whiskey nightcap, which has been fine, but I really like the ritual of those things. It's not even so much the effect that I get from them, but it's like starting the day with coffee, ending the day with whiskey. It's got like this place in the ritualistic me. It feels sacred. So I'm working on replacing those things over time with something else. I've heard people just do go from buttered or bulletproof coffee to just like bulletproof water. And I am reducing the beans that I put in my coffee every day, so maybe that's the goal. As long as I like it and it hits that spot, I'll do that. With my whiskey, I've actually been replacing every time I pour out my shot, which I sip, I replace it with water. So I'm actually just watering down the whiskey over time until maybe it's just water and it doesn't have the effect and I don't need the ritual, or maybe just sipping on some mineral water will serve that purpose right before I go to bed as I wind down. No negative effects from the whiskey that I know of. Sometimes negative effects from too much coffee messing with my stomach and my digestion. What I have noticed also though is that my tolerance is super low, so if I do go out with friends and we have a couple of drinks, it doesn't necessarily make me now I'm drunk and I didn't used to get drunk, but I feel it the next day. I feel it in my head, I feel it in my energy levels. I used to always tell my friends oh, I don't get hungover. If I get hungover like y'all, there's no way I'd ever drink. So now I'm facing that and being oh, this is what a hangover feels like. This is pretty awful. So now when I go out, I'm going to not drink as much as everybody else or whatever. I'm learning that because while it feels good at the time, if it wrecks your next day, it's certainly not worth it. So those are things I'm working on. That's pretty much what I got for today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, please share. Please let me know what you want to hear about. I still have plenty of ideas, but if there's something specific you want me to address, I would love to do that. So I'm out of here. Just always remember, grains are garbage. Have a good one.